All right, let's talk about something we've all struggled with. You know the drill. You get this big burst of motivation, you set a huge new goal, you're gonna get in shape, you're gonna read a book a week, you're gonna learn to code, and for like 3 days, you are absolutely on fire. But then, well, life gets in the way. That motivation just kind of fizzles out and you're right back where you started. But what if the problem isn't you? What if it's the whole approach that's broken? Well, today, we're diving into the core ideas from James Clear's Atomic Habits to explore a completely different way to think about making progress.
And this right here, this is the central idea of the whole thing. And it's kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? We're always told to go big or go home. But this book argues for the exact opposite. See, real lasting change doesn't come from some massive overnight transformation. It comes from the compounding effect of hundreds of tiny, almost invisible decisions you make every single day.
So when we say tiny, how tiny are we really talking about? Well, let's think about the incredible power of just getting 1% better every single day.
Now, this is where the math gets kind of wild. If you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you don't end up 365% better. Nope. Thanks to the magic of compounding, you end up almost 38 times better. But the flip side is also true. Get 1% worse each day, and you're pretty much back to zero. The hard part is, in the beginning, you can't see these changes at all. And that, can be super frustrating. You know this feeling, right? You've been hitting the gym for 2 weeks, but you don't see a difference in the mirror. You've been practicing guitar every night, but you still sound clumsy. That lack of immediate reward is the #1 reason most of us just give up. But it turns out there's a name for what's actually happening.
And here is the absolute key. Your hard work isn't being wasted. It's just being stored. The book uses this great analogy of an ice cube in a cold room. Imagine the temperature slowly rising. From 25 degrees to 26, 28, 31, nothing seems to be happening to the ice cube. But then it hits 32 degrees and bam, a breakthrough. That whole time where nothing seemed to be happening is what's called the valley of disappointment. The secret is to have the grit to push through it because your breakthrough is waiting on the other side.
Okay, so we get it. Small, consistent efforts are the way to go. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of how to do this, we have to talk about the single most important mindset shift in this whole explainer. It's not about what you want to achieve, it's about who you want to become. This is the foundation of what the author calls identity-based habits. See, most of us start with the outcome. I want to lose 20 pounds. The problem is that goal might actually conflict with who we currently see ourselves as. Real, lasting behavior change is all about identity change.
And this slide just nails the difference. The goal-based approach is about a finish line. Okay, you ran the marathon, now what? But the identity-based approach is about adopting the identity itself. A person who is a runner, well, they run. It's just what they do, race or no race. The focus completely shifts from a one-time thing to a long-term way of being.
Just let that one sink in for a second. Every single time you lace up your shoes and go for a jog, you're casting a vote for I am a runner. Every time you sit down and write just one paragraph, you're casting a vote for I am a writer. These tiny habits are more than just actions. They're you proving your own identity to yourself, one small win at a time.
So, we've got the mindset down. Focus on those 1% gains and build the identity first. Now let's get down to business. How do we actually build these habits? Well, that's where this super practical toolkit comes in, the 4 laws of behavior change.
Okay, this is your cheat sheet for hacking your own behavior. Every single habit, good or bad, follows this loop. There's a cue, which triggers a craving, which leads to a response, which delivers a reward. So if you want to build a good habit, you just walk down the list. Make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. And if you want to break a bad habit, it's simple. You just flip the whole thing on its head. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying.
Let's use a super practical example that probably hits home for a lot of us. The bad habit? Mindlessly scrolling on your phone in bed. The cue is the phone right there on your nightstand. Maybe it buzzes or lights up. So according to the first law for breaking bad habits, you just make the cue invisible. Get the phone out of the bedroom entirely. You've basically stopped the habit before it even had a chance to start. It sounds almost too simple, but it's incredibly powerful.
And that little phone trick points to a much bigger, much more powerful strategy, designing your environment. This is one of my favorite ideas from this whole framework, the concept of your environment being this invisible hand that guides your actions.
Look, let's be real.
Willpower is like a phone battery. It starts full in the morning and it just runs out. Trying to rely on it to make good choices all day is just exhausting and, frankly, it's a losing battle. A way better strategy is to be the architect of your space. You want to eat healthier? Don't hide the fruit in a drawer, put it in a bowl on the counter. You want to read more? Don't leave your book on a shelf, put it right on top of your pillow. The goal is to make good habits the easiest, most obvious choice.
All right, we're at our final core concept, and this one is a biggie. It's a fundamental shift in how we even think about achieving things. It's all about the difference between your destination and the actual road you take to get there.
We are a goal-obsessed culture, but goals are just the finish line. They're the result you want. Systems, on the other hand, are the processes you follow that get you those results. And here's the argument. Forget about the goals for a minute. If you can fall in love with your system, with your daily process, the goals will pretty much take care of themselves.
This quote just hits so hard because it's so obviously true when you think about it. Every single athlete at the Olympics has the goal of winning a gold medal. Every startup wants to become a unicorn. Having the goal doesn't make you special. The real difference maker, the thing that separates the winners from everyone else, is the system they commit to day in and day out. The goal just gives you direction. The system is what actually makes the progress.
And that really is what this all boils down to. It's not about waking up tomorrow and trying to completely overhaul your life. It's about finding one tiny atomic shift you can make today. So I'll leave you with this question. What's that one small, easy action, that 1% improvement that you can do today to cast a vote for the person you want to become? That's the only thing that really matters.